Welcome to the start of a journey that will fundamentally change how you look at the world, your bank account, and even your daily schedule. To begin, we need to meet our main character, John. John is a lot like any of us. He is full of ambition and has a list of desires that could fill 1,000 lifetimes. John wants a high-end workstation to start his coding project. He wants to travel to every continent. He wants to eat at the best restaurants, and he also wants to have enough free time to sleep 10 hours a day and hang out with friends. In short, John has infinite desires. If you ask him what he wants, the list never ends. But John, like everyone else, lives in a world of limits. This brings us to the most fundamental concept in all of economics: scarcity. According to N. Gregory Mankiw, the management of society's resources is important because resources are scarce. Scarcity means that society has limited resources and therefore cannot produce all the goods and services people wish to have. Just as a household cannot give every member everything they want, a society cannot give every individual the highest standard of living to which they might aspire. Think about John's situation. He has a limited amount of money in his pocket. He has exactly 24 hours in his day. He has a finite amount of energy. Because these resources are limited, John cannot fulfill all his desires at once. If he spends his money on a new gaming console, he might not have enough for the textbooks he needs for his course. If he spends his entire evening watching movies, he gives up the time he could have spent building his project on GitHub. This is the reality of the human condition. We are constantly caught in a tug of war between what we want and what we can actually have. This is where the formal definition of our subject comes in. Most people think economics is just about stock markets, interest rates, and big banks. While those are parts of it, the core definition is much broader. Mankiw defines economics as the study of how society manages its scarce resources. It is the science of decision-making under pressure, the pressure of limits. In most societies, resources are not allocated by a single central planner, but through the combined actions of millions of households and firms. Economists study how people make these decisions: how much they work, what they buy, how much they save, and how they invest their resources. To understand how John should navigate this, we have to look at the first and most important principle of economics: people face trade-offs. To get one thing that we like, we usually have to give up another thing that we like. Making decisions requires trading off one goal against another. Consider John as a student. His most precious resource is his time. He can spend all of his time studying economics. He can spend all of it studying finance, or he can divide it between the two. For every hour he spends studying one subject, he gives up an hour that he could have used for the other. And for every hour he spends studying, he gives up an hour that he could have spent napping, riding his bike, or working at a part-time job for extra spending money. Trade-offs don't just happen at the individual level, they happen at the societal level too. Mankiw explains a classic trade-off that society faces: the choice between guns and butter. The more a society spends on national defense, guns, to protect its shores from foreign aggressors, the less it can spend on consumer goods, butter, to raise the standard of living at home. In the modern world, we often trade off a clean environment for high levels of income. Laws that require firms to reduce pollution raise the cost of producing goods and services, which leads to lower profits, lower wages, or higher prices. Another major trade-off society faces is between efficiency and equality. Efficiency means that society is getting the maximum benefits from its scarce resources. Equality means that those benefits are distributed uniformly among society's members. You can think of these terms in relation to an economic pie. Efficiency refers to the size of the economic pie, while equality refers to how the pie is divided into individual slices. Часть два. Often, when government policies try to cut the pie into more equal slices, the pie itself gets smaller. For example, when the government redistributes income from the rich to the poor, it reduces the reward for working hard, which may cause people to work less and produce fewer goods and services. Acknowledging that trade-offs exist is the first step in thinking like an economist. John will likely make better decisions if he understands the options he has available. He needs to realize that every choice comes with a hidden cost, the thing he didn't choose. By recognizing scarcity, John moves from being a passive observer of his life to an active manager of his resources. In this course, we aren't just teaching you theories. We are giving you the economic mindset. We are training you to look at every situation and ask, what is scarce here? What are the desires involved? And what is the trade-off being made? Whether you are deciding which stocks to buy or simply deciding whether to hit the snooze button on your alarm clock, you are practicing economics. You are managing scarcity. As we move forward, keep John in mind. Every time he chooses one path, another path is closed off. Understanding why we choose the paths we do is the essence of this science.